Hi everyone, this is Aaron for Zollotech, and we're going to review the Nexus 5. This is Google's latest Nexus, and it comes in a couple different options. We have a white or black version. This is the white version, and we have 16 or 32 gigabyte. The 16 gigabyte comes in at $349, while the 32 comes in at $399. This is actually the 16 gigabyte model, and the other difference for the white is this white speakerphone area here and this gloss side around the outside instead of being soft touch plastic. The internals of this phone are really impressive. Quad-core 2.3 gigahertz, Snapdragon 800, Adreno 330 GPU, and it has all sorts of sensors inside of it that you'd expect. It also works on just about every GSM LTE network you can think of. It has Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, BGN, and AC, so it's got all the latest as far as sensors and antennas go for the most part. We also have a rear-facing 8-megapixel camera with an LED flash, and the design of the phone is really pretty nice. It feels really nice in the hand, and it's got a really nice large 1080p display that's 4.95 inches, just under 5 inches, with 445 pixels per inch. It's also covered with Gorilla Glass 3, so it's really very strong. It has 2 gigabytes of RAM, and like I said, this is the 16 gigabyte model. The battery inside is a non-removable lithium polymer 2300 milliamp hour battery. It's good for 300 hours of standby and 17 hours of talk time. Now, I've used this phone extensively since it's come out, and I've gotten pretty decent battery life, but it hasn't been consistent. It's been on and off. Let me show you what I mean by that. If I go to the battery settings here, we'll go into battery. You can see it's been on for 10.5 hours or so, just on battery. The screen has taken up a good amount of that, and that's been on about 2.5 hours. Now, this is checking my emails and things in the background. Now, this is kind of short battery life for this phone, in my opinion. I've gotten much better battery life other times I've used it. So I'm not really sure what the difference is. It just depends on the day and the type of usage I'm doing. But it definitely makes a difference depending on the day. I'm not really sure what the difference is. As far as the outside of the phone, the design's really nice. It's this really kind of soft touch plastic. Now, I understand that the black model of this has more soft touch than this model, more like the Nexus 7, and that's probably a good thing. This is actually pretty slippery, and it's dropped out of my hands a few times. This gloss side is nice, but again, it's dropped right out of my hands. The buttons on this phone are ceramic, and that sounded really nice up front, and they're really sturdy buttons, but they're very sharp. If you run your finger along this volume button here, it's just really, really sharp. Now, just like the other Nexus, it's got a headphone jack on top, your volume on the side, a speaker and microphone on the bottom, micro USB for charging, and then on this side, you've got your power on, sleep wake button, and your SIM card slot there. On the back, camera like I mentioned before, and none of that's really changed from last year's Nexus 4 model. The Nexus 4 does feel a little bit better in the hand as far as high quality materials, and that might just be because it's glass, but the Nexus 5 feels a little bit lighter. So as far as that goes, it's hard to say which one is better. I do think that the Nexus 5 feels a little bit cheaper than the Nexus 4, but the other features that the Nexus 5 brings are just so much better. It's got a better forward-facing camera, much better rear-facing camera, and the camera is really very good. It's inconsistent, though. Some people have complained about it. Let me put the Nexus behind it. Some people have complained about it, but for the most part, it takes pretty decent photos. We'll go to the photo here, snap a picture, and it comes out pretty good. The image quality is pretty decent. You can see the glare there, and pretty much what you see in this camera, you'll see here. So for the most part, it takes really excellent pictures. I haven't had too many problems as far as that goes. Now, some people have reported other problems with the camera, but for the most part, I think it's really decent. The Nexus 5 comes equipped with Android 4.4 KitKat. It's the first Android phone to come with this operating system standard, and everything's really nice and refined. Gone are the blues and the things that you saw in the past that kind of overwhelmed the operating system. Now it's more of a consistent black and white feel, and everything kind of sits in the background as far as the operating system, and all of your apps are kind of front-facing and forward. The speed is really fast. We'll go to Zollotech. We'll open a tab here. And it really performs quite well. This will take a little bit. I'm a little ways away from Wi-Fi. There we go. I've loaded, and for the most part, it scrolls just like any other high-end phone, although you can see it's choppy at times, and I'm not sure why that is. I'm assuming that's Android, since so many other phones that are really very high specs have this same issue. I've used this phone extensively for phone calls, and it has a great speaker up here when you're using it. People were able to hear me clearly. I could hear them clearly. In fact, they were able to hear me better on this phone than on an iPhone 5S in my testing. So it must have a pretty decent microphone inside of it. As far as the speaker on the bottom, I know some people have complained about this. I actually haven't had too many issues. It's nice and loud. I wouldn't say it's great for music. I've definitely heard better, but as far as being able to hear someone loud and clear, I haven't had an issue. Now, I know some people have, and I believe that will be corrected with software, but for me personally, it's been great that way. Overall, I would definitely recommend the Nexus 5. It's really quite a nice phone. It's very nice looking. It does occasionally feel cheap. I don't know what that is about this. I believe the Nexus 4 felt a little more high-end, and that might just be me or my preference. But overall, I think it's a great phone, and for the price, it's a great buy, especially because you have no contract. So definitely be sure to check out the Nexus 5. Let me know what you think about the Nexus in the comments below. Have you bought one? Are you planning on buying one? And if so, what are your likes and dislikes? Let us know in the comments below. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.